Stakeholders. Okay, stakeholder, anyone who has a stake in your event is a stakeholder. Okay, audience, the council, emergency services, sponsors, investors, artists, managers, promoters, agents, PR, anyone who has a stake in the event taking place. You will have, if you're going to run a festival or a commercial event, proper event, you probably will have a number of stakeholders, and they will look like something like that. So you might want to think about how you deal with all those things, having a customer satisfaction policy. If somebody doesn't like a seat, what are you going to do? You're just going to ride out the argument? You're just going to, what are you going to do? Somebody doesn't like the band, or it was not what they thought, or they paid, it wasn't on the ticket, something. You know, all those things need to be thought about in incredible detail. The importance of taking care of stakeholders is, if you upset someone like a sponsor or an investor, they're not going to come back. You know, you need, if a sponsor or an investor walks into your gig and there's no one there to meet them, or you haven't reserved a seat for them, or there's no hospitality, or there's no VIP, you know, you've lost it. You've lost them. Their money will go somewhere else. So it's really important that you take care of all your stakeholders. If you upset the council, you know, why should they trust you next time? They're not gonna do it. You have to look after everyone, look after all your stakeholders. Marketing a festival is really, or any event is really, really difficult, all right? If you've got a strong community around you and you're part of a community, whether that's a youth community or a pensioner community, or some kind of cultural group, or a women's group, or a sports group, it could be anything. If you've got some kind of community, then you'll always have some kind of audience. But expanding that and taking it to the next stage makes marketing and PR really, really important. You probably would have heard that getting your messages right is the most important part of marketing. So we're doing this festival of music and sport. When we launched the festival, lots of the messages are really about the music, but now we're about to start pushing the messages about the sport. We're not allowed, because it's an Olympic festival, it's to celebrate the Olympics. It's part of the council's cultural Olympiad, right? But I'm not allowed to say in my messages, I can't say the word Olympic, I can't say the word inspired by, I can't say inspired by 2012, I can't say part of the cultural Olympiad, I can't make any references at all to the Olympics. So I have to be really creative about what I say, and I've come up with a solution for that. You have to look out for it in your local magazine or newspaper or online, because I'm going to tell you what it is now. But I've come up with a way to get around all those restrictions. So when you're talking about your messages, you need to get them right. So if it is a punk festival or a dance festival, you need the right imagery, it needs to look right, it needs to connect to your community, the community you're aiming at. If you're putting on a classical concert, there's no point putting a heavy metal guitar on the front cover, obviously. But it's that kind of thing. So messages are really important. Okay, what do we need to sponsor? What do we need to market a festival? The best thing you could have is a media sponsor, a media partner that gives you access to audiences for nothing or next to nothing. And that could be radio, it could be TV, it could be any number of things. Print, social media, so it could be online or offline. What is the best kind of coverage in print or anywhere? What would you think it would be? For me, it's editorial. It's no good having a review. You know, it's like, oh yeah, we'll come and review it. I'm like, I'm not interested in a review, because a review, the gig's happened. it's there's no value to me. You know, you could say, oh, it was great or it was rubbish. It's not going to bring me any money. It's not going to sell me any tickets. So for me, editorial is the best kind of coverage you can get. Advertorial is your editorial made to look like an ad because they won't put it in. So you buy the page and you write it like it's an article. I've done that in The Guardian before, and I convinced them to give me a ridiculous rate, 1,500 quid. Whereas if I bought an advert, bought a proper advert, it would have been something like £13,000 for a full page in the Guardian guide, you know, something ridiculous. So competitions are good as well because it's free. Advertising is my least favourite because it's you just never really know which advert is working for you, you know. It's so hard to tell unless you put a code on it, some kind of promotional code, and you can track who's responded to that. Viral marketing, social media marketing, Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, YouTube, you know all that, as much as you can do. There are ways to use social media really effectively, targeting groups, targeting individuals, people who are trendsetters, people who are more likely to support what you're doing, people who are going to retweet. So we booked Vintage Trouble for a gig, and I tweeted, brilliant, we got Vintage Trouble playing our gig. They retweeted it to about 10,000 people. So my tweet was retweeted to 10,000 people. Booked the Skints, same thing happened. Great, we booked the Skints, retweeted to 10,000, and so on and so on. So in my view, social media marketing is going to replace eventually all of this. You can eventually, not yet, but eventually. Targeted mail, post, email, flyers, e-bulletins, print, posters, flyers. You know what freaks me out is whenever the circus comes to town, the whole place is just blitzed with posters. Flyers everywhere. They're so effective. Same with the fair. It's just everywhere. Shop windows, flyers, you can't miss it. You try and you see how much work it takes to flyer a place in the same way and poster a place in the same way that the fair does it or the circus. It's just incredible. Just the whole circus must just go out at night and blitz everywhere. Posters and flyers need distribution, so it's quite a lot of work that you need to think about. Ambush and parasite. What is ambush marketing? No? Ambush marketing? You wait for something else, somebody else's marketing to be something somebody else is marketing, and you get in on their marketing and you get in front of it. So if it's like a photo opportunity, you're there in your punk festival t-shirt, yay, hello, you know, or if you're somebody's marketing something else, you just make sure you're there with your poster or something, or you get in on the action. It's ambush marketing. You can go to the council and you can ask for permission to put up posters in shops, in empty shops. And there's no good reason, as long as it's a good, honest project, that they won't put them up. I've done it before myself. So yeah, in shop windows. So you can actually do it legitimately. Make sure you find out what the reach is before you say yes to anything. Think about the reach. If you might spend 10 minutes waiting to put a leaflet in somebody's hand, right, who just goes, oh, you know, chucks it away around the corner. I do that. Radio, so Heart FM radio, for example, what would you think the reach is of Heart FM radio? Just, what do you think? Huh? 2,500. Their reach, their daily or whatever reach is 20-something thousand, like 20-something thousand for Bath, right? For the Bath transmitter that goes all the way to Bristol, and then it becomes the Bristol transmitter, Wiltshire transmitter, Somerset transmitter, and so on. You can advertise on all those transmitters at huge monies and reach about 100,000 people, or you can just do Bath transmitter and reach about 20,000 people. So, and then, so for example, you might want to think about what time of day you're advertising, because breakfast and drive time are the busiest times. So you're going to think about all those things, and also magazines. I always insist on some kind of editorial if I'm taking an ad, and you can be quite bullish about that. And some magazines actually say, well, if you buy half a page advert, you get half a page editorial. So what else have we got? Parasite marketing. Parasite marketing is exactly what it says. Somebody else is doing a mail out. Can I put my flyer in with your mail out? That's parasite marketing. You're marketing on the back of somebody else's mailing. Or if they've got an email going out to, I don't know, 10,000 metal fans, you're like, can I just have like a bit in your, you know? That's parasite marketing. And it might be that they say, oh, well, if you reciprocate my marketing, I'll do your marketing. And ticketing agencies. Lots of ticketing agencies might increase your chances of selling tickets. Legislation, child protection, equal opportunities, human rights, health and safety, all these things, very important parts of, you cannot get away with not knowing these things. If you're going to put on a gig, you need to look after the young people taking part. Alex, you have to do all kinds of things, don't you? Jump through all kinds of hoops.
Yeah, indeed.
To look after young people. Human rights, health and safety, that is just an incredible minefield of information. Risk assessment, all of those things. Actually, if you go to the health and safety website, you can download a risk assessment form, and it's just interesting to look at. Okay, thank you for your time today, gentlemen. Thank you.